Hi everybody, welcome back to the latest edition of the Fargo Force Show. Our guest this week is Force forward Jacob Paganelli, the only guy on the Force from the state of New Jersey. This is your first season in the USHL. You started the season with Omaha, were traded to the Force in December. Talk about just that and what it was like, starting a place and now coming over to the Force. You had a little familiarity with the Force, being that you played some high school hockey and some minor league hockey at Shattuck St. Mary's, right?
Right. I got moved here in the first day of December, and ever since then it's been really good for me. They've given me a lot of opportunity here. I've played with some really good players, and the whole team's just been a little bit deeper, so it helps to play if you're playing different roles and stuff like that. So it's been a really good fit so far.
Now you played 21 games with the Force, 16 points, 7 goals, 9 assists. Is that something you kind of always been able to do? You've been a forward that can dish it as well as scored, or what are your strengths, would you say?
I'd say I'm a pretty big scorer. Past couple of years, past four or so years, I've been on the stat sheet a lot and stuff like that. So now that I'm doing that, I'm not completely surprised, but it's definitely a good feeling that you're getting those numbers. Now
in Omaha, you were saying you weren't getting maybe as much opportunity as you would have liked. How has it been with the Force? It seems like you've jumped in and stepped in and contributed right away. How refreshing has that been?
Yeah, it's been really good just for myself as a player and just as a person. It goes a long way with your confidence that your coach has a lot of I'd say
belief in you or trust?
Yeah, belief in your capabilities as a player, and I'm doing some stuff here that I haven't been even doing on other teams over the past couple of years. So Carrie's been really good to me here.
Nice. What is the biggest thing that struck you when you've come to the Force here? What did you notice about the team, whether it was a style of play or something with the team and how close it was? Was there anything that kind of stood out since you've joined?
Yeah, I'd just say the guys handle themselves with as professionals. And not like Omaha didn't, but everyone's a winner here, I feel like, and they know what it takes to win, and we can do it on a consistent basis. One guy goes down a little bit, another guy works twice as hard to pick the next guy up. So it's been a very professional setting around here.
And talk about Coach Eads. He said you saw him at the rink sometimes at Shattuck. You had some familiarity with him. What's that been like, transitioning to a new coach and kind of his style?
Yeah, so I've definitely known Coach Eads. I've seen him around the rink for years now at Shattuck and such like that up in Minnesota. And I've always seen that he plays kind of a skill game and stuff like that, and he's not afraid to let the players do what they want, what their capabilities hold within them, which is different from a lot of teams around the league. A lot of teams around the league, sometimes they make you do one thing, tripping pucks and stuff like that, but Carrie lets you do, if you're going to play well, Carrie lets you do what you want to do.
All right, well, you guys have continued to play well since our last show. The Force have kind of continued on 7-3 in their last 10 games. Let's get you caught up a little bit since our last show. We'll start on Friday, January 20th. The Force hosted Lincoln for the first of two. The intensity early on in this one, Fargo's Evan Doherty and Lincoln's Cole Krieger dropped the gloves. Does something like that get you fired up when this happens early in the game? It kind of sets the tone?
Yeah, definitely. It sets the tone for the whole week, and that was a huge play by Doherty.
The very next sequence after play resumed, the Force win the faceoff, and to Shane McMahon to Mark Senden. A thing of beauty there, 1-0 Force there. Then in the second, it's Lucas Callblay unleashes the long blast, and Mr. Paganelli right in front. Take a look at it again. You have to backhand tap it in. That's your 9th of the season, and it's 2-0 Force. Same period, Blake Lazat steals the puck and is off to the races. Watch what he does. Just a pretty backhanded goal there. Tremendous. His 7th, 3-0 Force. Lincoln would score, but then Jack Adams would score his 20th of the season for the final margin. Force win it 4-1, a season best 5-game winning streak for the Force. Matt Murray stopped 26 of 27 shots in net. So the next night, it was the Force's 4th annual Hometown Heroes Night. The promotion, which included the North Dakota Army National Guard's rappel team, a benefit lunch, and auctioning off Special Force jerseys, raised over $28,000 for local hometown hero organizations for life-saving equipment, supplies, and training. Just awesome that the Force does this year after year. Scoreless now in the first as we go to the game. The Force on the power play, and it's Callblay off the pipe and in his first of the season, 1-0 Force on top. However, Lincoln would then score the next 3 goals. This one in the third by Sam Sternstein put the Stars up 3-1. But the Force weren't done though. On the power play again, it's Callblay again, his 2nd of the game. And with 2 minutes left, it was a 1-goal Lincoln lead. But that's how it ended. 3-2, Lincoln wins it. They outshot the Stars, the Force did, 42-19, and were 2 of 5 on the power play. But the 5-game win streak is snapped. And also another note, Callblay did, for his performance this weekend, was named USHL Defenseman of the week. So congrats to him. 3 days later, a rare Tuesday game for the Force as they hosted Des Moines. Second period, Fargo trailing 1-0. Beautiful puck movement ends up with Lazard finding Jack Adams for his 21st of the season. Quick hands tied the game at 1-1. What a season for Adams. Third period now, Des Moines takes the lead back as David Kiefer wires home the wrister past Ryan Bischel with 2-1, Bucks on top. But just over 2 minutes later, Force defenseman Philip Alfberg fires a shot that finds its way through the humanity, his 5th of the season, and once again we're tied at 2. But Des Moines got the game winner 2 minutes later. Matt Hootie buries it on the 2-on-1 rush. Bucks at a late empty netter, and Des Moines wins this one 4-2. The Force, the second consecutive loss. We haven't had too many losing streaks to speak of this season. Force outshot the Bucks 30-21 and held them to 0-4 on the power play. So the following weekend then, the Force were on the road for 2 at Lincoln. Friday, January 27th, the Force come up with a 6-2 victory. 6 straight goals after trailing 1-0. An assist by our guest here, Jacob Paganelli. Also, Matt Murray, 20 saves, and that one a bunch of guys scored. And then the next night, Lincoln gets a little revenge. 5-2 goals by Adams and Sennin. The Force did outshoot Lincoln, though, 34-25. Fargo and Lincoln, they faced each other 4 times in a span of 5 games, ending with that Saturday game, and they split those 4 games, 2 games apiece. So back home then the next weekend, hosting the Bloomington Thunder. Force down 1-0 in the first, and you start this scoring chance ahead to Shane McMahon off a Thunder skate. Watch this, and back to you, and you end up putting it in. Tell us about this one as we take another look at the replay in the top right corner of the screen.
Yeah, it was just a good play. Mark was driving the net there wide, and Shane just found me in the middle, so buried it.
And a little quick hands are good reflexes. Force then trailed 2-1 in the third when they would tie it up. Evan Bell slides a pass to a wide open Adams in front, 2-2 at the end of regulation. Nothing was decided in overtime, so we go to a shootout. After both teams failed on their first tries, Adams, watch him slow play it a little bit here. I'll kind of just ease in, and he's going to score, putting the Force up 1-0 in the shootout. It was 1-1 after Bloomington goal and then a Force failed goal, so it came down to Hank Crone, a chance to win for the Force, and he goes stick side and buries it, and that gives the Force the win. 3-2, the shootout victory. The Force win the shootout 2-1. You guys are 3-0 in shootouts now this season. Matt Murray, 26 saves in the game, including 3 of 4 in the shootout. So the very next night, and wouldn't you know it, ended up in the very same score. Again, the Force fell behind early, but again, you guys were undeterred. On the power play, great passing. Heiskanen to Meyer to who else? Adams, where he seemingly is always this season, right in front of the net. His league leading 25th, and we're tied at 1 early in period 2. But 2 minutes later, the Force fans look away on this one because this is kind of painful. Vladislav Diovili slices through the Force defense. 2-1 Thunder after he's going to score on this one. 2-1 Thunder after 2 periods. But again, you guys have battled back. You've been doing it all season. Christian Versich, he's going to find Martin Sundberg here, and this is going to tie the game at 2-2 midway through the third. Then at 16:07 of the third, Adams works the puck in the corner, finds a cutting Crone all alone in front, and he buries it. A second straight night for the game winner. 3-2 Force, and that's your final. Murray, another solid effort in net with 23 saves. The defense solid as well, and you get the weekend sweep of Bloomington there. So as we take now a look at the updated standings after those highlights, Jacob, we see that Waterloo has now overtaken Sioux City for the first time this season. They're now in first place with 53, basically tied, but Waterloo has the percentage points there. And you guys are sitting in third place, just 3 points points back of that first place spot. And basically, if you look at the bottom 3 teams, they're starting to get a little separation now. Those 3 teams not much in the hunt anymore, as we're 2/3 of the way through the season. It's basically 5 teams now in a race for those 4 and final playoff spots. What do you see when you look at that?
Yeah, I see a dogfight, like Coach Eads says. I mean, we're 3 points out of first, but we're also 3 points out of not even making it. So I think it definitely inspires us every night that we got to bring it, and because we don't want to fall out, but we also want to get into that top spot. So.
How much fun is it just to know that you're in the playoff race here? You got 20 games left, basically. I mean, that's got to be what you guys live for, kind of, to have this opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being a playoff team definitely helps you go to the rink a couple more days out of the week, and it definitely drives you a little bit more. If you go to the last game of the season, you're not in the playoffs, I don't really know what you're playing for. It's kind of tough to get yourself to go, so it's fun.
And as Force fans know, it came down to the last game of the regular season last year, and it didn't turn out that way, so they don't want to bring it down to the last game this year. So let's take a look at the upcoming schedule here now for the Force. They're all games against Eastern Conference teams in the USHL. This coming weekend, it'll be hosting Green Bay for 2. They're in 5th place in the Eastern Conference. The following weekend at Shields Arena, the Force will host Madison. They're in 8th place, one of the worst teams in the USHL. And then the following weekend, the Force back on the road. Your farthest road trip of the season at Youngstown. They're sitting in 4th. What do you think of when you look at that? Some long road trip to start, but you got some home games right away before that long Youngstown trip.
Yeah, we've been around 500 at home this year at Shields, but I think we're starting to finally get through that, which will be good. Definitely in time for playoffs. Youngstown's gonna be a trip, but and they're a good team, but we'll have to see how that goes.
How about playing teams that you don't play as much, Green Bay and Madison, or the other divisions? Is it always a little more of a challenge? Do the coaches have to do an extra time kind of scouting some of those teams because maybe you're not as familiar as a Sioux Falls or a Sioux City?
Yeah, I definitely think that. I don't necessarily think that the coaches have to do a little bit more research, but when they put up the depth charts and stuff like that, I think that's something that the players have to look at because it's totally different strategies by those teams and totally different offensive, defensive, neutral zones. So it's something that we have to be a little bit more required to.
All right, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. 2/3 of the way through the season, the Force right in the playoff hunt, and we hope the success can continue. Jacob Paganelli, great job on the show tonight. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you so much.
All right, and that'll do it for this edition of the Fargo Force Show.